Hey. If I'm honest, I feel like email marketing is a career for me. And I will say it's the first time in my life that I've ever really felt like I had a career. And I absolutely love the career choice that God chose for me. Okay. Because let's be honest, I didn't choose this. But the thing that I really, really love is I absolutely love being a business owner. Um, in life, if you would have told me I was going to be a business owner, I would not have believed you because I was like, absolutely not. When I was in cosmetology school, I remember people saying, well, what are your goals? What are you going to do after cosmetology school? And I remember people saying, I want to be a salon owner. I was like, I don't ever want to be no business owner. Like, that's not my portion, right? And so it's shocking to be here so many years later where I'm actually a business owner. And this is something that I absolutely love and enjoy. But the truth about being a business owner is how much of life comes into play with being a business owner. It's so much more than just having a job or creating a job opportunity for yourself. Because don't let the internet get your mindset all wrong. You don't have a business, you have a job. Let me tell you something. I'd rather have this job than any other job that I've ever had in my life. Just saying. But that's the truth. All right. So I kind of want to talk about something a little bit different today. I have some stories or a story I want to share. And so let's get into it. If you don't know, I am Sane, the owner of Sane & Co. Email Marketing. We offer email marketing services to women-led small businesses. We offer everything from email sign-up forms, email funnels, and ongoing email campaigns. We even offer SMS marketing. So if you're ever in the need or you know another small business owner who can use our services, please refer us. Visit us online at www.soundandco.com. All right, girl, the business is out the way, so let's get into it. So recently on my Instagram account, I took a pause. Like it was just like unexpected, but it was kind of like where I had to do it. It wasn't something I wanted to do, but it was something that I had to do. Um, as a business owner, and I've kind of toyed with this idea. Do I call myself a Christian entrepreneur? Like, do I go down that route of like trying to brand Sana and Co as that like a Christian business? And so I made up the decision. No, I'm not doing that. Sana and Co is we are email marketing company, but I cannot help but to talk about God in my business. And it's not because I want to be this Christian entrepreneur, but because that's just who I am. God is just in my heart, and I can't separate that from me. And so anything that has to do with Sana and Co is always going to include God because He's so much in this story. He created this business. This was not something that I didn't do this by myself. I say this all the time. Every single step that I take in this business came from God. It was a vision from God. It's an answered prayer from God. I pray about them emails I'm sending out. Like everything that I do is from God. And so I say all this to say, so I took this break, kind of, sort of. It wasn't something I wanted to do. Me as the business owner, I'm like, girl, we ain't got time for no breaks. We got go. We need money. Okay, period. We need money. I don't have time for a break. But my spirit wouldn't allow for me to do anything else. I had to break. Um, and so, as a business owner, you cannot separate who you are in life from your business. That's why it's so important that you work on yourself as a person because there's going to be times where you can't code switch. You can't turn it on and off. You can't turn on, Sane, the owner of Sane & Co. Like I can't turn that on all the time. Like I don't have the capacity to do that because things are always moving. I have a lot going on. And so I have to be who I am all the time. Who is Sane? This is who she is as a business owner. This is who she is in real life. And so you can't code switch. So you have to become who you want to be. And so if you're like, I want to show up as, a positive person, I want to show up as a positive leader, you have to become that person in real life. Like you can't separate the two. You're not just going to be that positive leader as a business owner if you're not that person in real life. So that's something that you have to it's a mindset that you have to be all the time. Like you don't turn this on, you don't turn this off. And that kind of goes back to, do I want to be a Christian entrepreneur or not? Like Not really. Like, I don't necessarily feel like I have to title myself that. But if you know me, if you've ever had a conversation with me, you know I'm going to talk about God, and it is what it is. And so I have been experiencing spiritual warfare. And so, and the warfare had got very, very serious. And it had got to a place where I couldn't deny like what was happening to me. And so I was having a week. And I mean, everything I was trying to do, all the work I was trying, I could not do. I was like, I can't focus on this. I have no ideas. Like my mind just went blank. And I mean, blank. Like I was like, I don't got it. I don't have it right now. And so I had to honor what was happening with me, what was happening within my spirit. And so I remember this week, this was right before October started. And so now we're like in mid October, right at the beginning of the month, at the end of September. I all I could do was pray, worship, and praise, repeat. Like I would try to work and I'm like, I gotta go into prayer. And one of the ways that I pray, other than praying out loud, praying in my mind, I usually my journal entries are prayers. Every single time that I'm journaling, I'm usually writing out like what am I going through, how am I feeling, what are my emotions, but I'm also writing in prayers at the same time because usually when I'm writing in my journal, I'm writing to God. Almost every single time, even when I'm admitting things about myself, all of that, like it's always to God. And so I'm spending a lot of time in I'm journaling a whole lot. I'm praying a whole lot, and I'm having this week, and I'm just like, this week is different. I'm feeling weird. Like, what is going on? And so I'm having like these whole feelings, and I'm just like, whatever. Like, I can't do anything. I mean, this one specific day, it was Thursday, and I remember, I mean, I couldn't get out of prayer, and I mean, head to the ground on the floor, like I could not get up out of this space. And but I'm also getting a word from God. God is telling me you got to plead the blood of Jesus. You got to plead the blood of Jesus. So of course I'm going into my battle cry, and I'm pleading, and I'm doing what I do, because let me tell you something. If most people don't know this about me, but I'm a real prayer warrior. Like I don't take it lightly. If you don't even have an idea, you may come into contact with me and be like, girl, something you don't even know. I don't went to war for you, because like this is what I do. I am a prayer warrior. I'm for real about this thing, okay? And so I'm doing what I do. And I remember I had this conversation that evening with my mom. And so it was so out of the blue. And it was just like, I don't know why I'm telling you this, but I got something I got to tell you. And I'm telling her things. Um, and these were like spiritual things about myself. And so I'm having this conversation with her. And then the next day was Friday. And so usually on Fridays, I kind of have like a routine that I do. And so this specific day, I went so out of my routine. I ended up going, I'm from Detroit. And so we have an island in Detroit, and it's called Belle Isle. And so I went to Belle Isle that day, and I was like, I had this like notion to do this the day before. I was like, you know what, I'm going to Belle Isle tomorrow. I'm going to take my Bible, I'm gonna take my journal. I'm just gonna have a whole like little prayer thing at the water. I'm like, this is gonna be great. This is gonna be beautiful. I'm gonna do this. And I'm gonna drink my coffee by the water, because I've never done that before. And so that's what I did. And that was how my morning went. It was absolutely beautiful. And I mean, even while I was driving in the car, I'm hearing, you got to plead the blood. You got to plead the blood. So I'm in the car and I'm pleading the blood. I'm pleading the blood and driving. Like, listen, I'm in worship. I'm in praise. I'm having all the moments. And so I'm driving home because I'm like, okay, girl, we about to go home and record some videos. That was actually what my goal was. And on my way home, I get into this accident. It came out of the blue, but in the moment of the accident, I knew that the accident was supposed to happen, and it was supposed to happen to me. In the moment, because you only have seconds where you're in this, it's seconds in an accident. I didn't see the accident coming. There was no way for me to avoid the accident. I was hit from the side. It came out of nowhere, but I also did not see anything. Why? Because when the car came into the side of my car, my airbags did what the airbags were supposed to do on the sides. They were there. I couldn't see out the windows. All I could see out was, I could only see straight forward. I couldn't see anything else. But I'm having these very clear thoughts, and I'm having these very like moments of like, I know what's happening. I know this was an attack from the enemy. It did not surprise me that I was in this accident based on how that week had went. And I knew that I had been in. Like I knew, like it was just almost like, this makes sense. Now this makes sense as to what is happening for me. And so in the moments, I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, somebody just hit me. I'm aware of this. I'm aware. Also, I'm like, I'm spinning. So my car is spent out on the freeway. I was in the fast lane. I done spent. And all I can see is that I'm going to hit the median. Because I'm like, I cannot stop my car. I'm literally in the car. I'm like, I can't stop this. But I said, well, you can't keep braking because you're going to hydroplane. And we don't want to do that. So I'm like, okay, what I'm trying to do, how do I stop this car? I'm like, well, I can't stop it. I was like, well, Sane being Sane. I said, well, I'll stop once I hit the wall. And I laugh every time I say that because it was so clear. I was like, well, I'm about to hit the wall. I'm like, I'm gonna stop then. We'll see what happens when I hit this wall. I'm like, I'm going to the median. And I hit the median. And my car stopped, of course, when I hit the wall. And then I remember I looked down and I was like, I'm okay. Okay. And I'm already in when you don't have anything else to say, the easiest thing to do is to just start saying Jesus. And so that was already happening. It was already coming out of my mouth. I don't even know if it was probably coming out of my mouth the entire time, even while I was having all of these thoughts of what was happening during this accident. Jesus, 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 because that's all that I had in the moment, because I needed Jesus in that moment. And so um I had opened up my door because I felt claustrophobic, because the airbags had deployed on both sides of the windows. They weren't in front of me, but they were on the sides of me. And so I felt claustrophobic, and I opened up my door and I'm just yelling, Jesus, 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 because I'm trying to grab my stuff. I'm like, I gotta get my purse. I gotta get out this car. Mind you, my Bible was on my passenger seat of my car the whole time. And so that was another indication that I knew that I was going to have this accident. Like, this was divine. And so, people, like the guy, it was actually three cars that were involved. One lady, it was three cars. I don't even want to go into the accident itself, but they came over and like, ma'am, are you okay? And I'm like, Jesus, 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 yes, Jesus, Jesus. Like, and it was just that kind of moment. And so after the accident, I refuse to let the devil have my day. Okay. There are things that, as bad as that was, as shocked as I was that it happened, I refuse to let I refuse to let the devil have my day, because I knew that that was divine. And I knew in that moment, like, I was supposed to experience that. And I had to go through that. So why am I going to be upset about it? I had one of the best days ever. I'm not going to lie. Like, even getting into a car accident, even with everything that goes on when you have an accident, I had one of the best days ever. And I say that to say, I wouldn't have been protected if I had been so focused on staying on my work that week. But because I didn't honor what I wanted to do, I honored what God told me to do. Therefore, that protection followed me into that day. And so, even so, then afterwards, the days after that will come after the following week, I'm like, okay, well, I'm over that, because I literally moved on from it. I left it where it was. I was like, it happened, it's done, and what can I do about it? There's nothing I can do about it. It's already happened. And so the next week, I'm like, okay, back to business. And then it was like, no, you're not back to business. And I'm like, but I'm fine. I walked away from that accident. I didn't have a scratch, a scar. I didn't even have a headache or a backache, like nothing. And so I'm like, God, I'm honoring you. I'm moving forward. And God said, no, you need to be still. And I'm like, this ain't the season. I ain't got no, I don't know. They probably gonna total my car out. I really can't be still, because I know if they about to total my car out, I'm gonna need a car. And so things like that. And so what happened is, he called me to stillness for another week. I could not do anything. I had no ideas. Nothing was coming to me again. Of course, they called me that week. They said, your car is totaled. And I'm just like, So that's where we are now. We're now in the place of, the car is totaled. I gotta find a car. I'm in the place of finding a car right now. So yeah. But I honored God again. He told me to be still, and I was still. And what ended up happening was I've gotten more clarity, not only just about in my life, but also he gave me clarity in my business and things that I had been doubting in my business. He told me what I needed to do in my business with me honoring my stillness. That's why I'm showing up on this video today, is because this is me honoring God and saying, you know what? I heard what you said to me, and this is what you want me to do. So therefore, I'm going to do what you told me to do. And so I say all of that to say, I didn't share this story with you. All of this to say is that sometimes, even when we feel like we need to be consistent, um, we can't take a break, all of those things, God, you have to honor what God is telling you to do in your business and to do in your life, because it's still all very so much connected. My life has poured over into my business, and yet it gave me the most clarity in my business. It gave me direction. And not only did it give me direction, honestly, it was, some of it was, I've already told you what to do, you just have not done it. And so you need to honor what I've already told you to do in your business. And so that's a whole another story for another day. But all of this to say, your personal life, you can't separate the two. You can't separate business, you can't separate personal. So you have to honor God when he tells you to do something in your personal life, even when it seems like this is inconvenience, this doesn't make sense for where I am. I have this strategy, I have this goal, I'm trying to hit these numbers, I'm trying to do all of the things. But when God calls you to do something, you need to honor what he's telling you to do. You need to be faithful in that, because you just don't know what he's setting you up for. Like, I still don't know what he's setting me up for. I'm just doing the things because, listen, you brought me through that, you're going to bring me through any and everything else that I'm going through. And so, yes, I've gotten out the stories. I hope it all makes sense, and I hope this all goes together, and I hope that this blesses somebody. I hope that you've gotten something from this word. All right, girl. Now, all right, I'll be back. I got some other stuff to tell you. I'll talk to you soon. All right. Bye.